Okay, so Apple just spent 2 years telling us a smarter Siri was coming, blew the deadline so badly they paid $250 million to settle a false advertising lawsuit over it, and today they finally shipped it. Powered by Google. Yeah, Google. WWDC 2026 just wrapped, and this was a big one. Tim Cook's last keynote as CEO. A completely rebuilt Siri AI running on a custom Google Gemini model, a next-generation Apple intelligence, macOS Golden Gate, and a stock that actually went down while Cook was still on stage. This is Apple's AI do-over, and there is a lot to unpack, including who doesn't get it. Looking at you, Europe. Let's get into it. This is the story. After 2 years of delays, Apple finally shipped the personalized Siri it promised back at WWDC 2024 and renamed it Siri AI. It's a ground-up rebuild powered by a custom 1.2 trillion parameter Google Gemini model, a mixture of experts model about 8 times larger than the 150 billion parameter models Apple built in-house. The deal is reported by Bloomberg's Mark Gurman at roughly $1 billion a year and was publicly confirmed by Google Cloud CEO Thomas Kurian. Let that sink in. The company, whose whole brand is "we build everything ourselves," is paying its biggest rival to run the brain of its flagship assistant. Here's how it works. A 3-tier routing system. Simple stuff stays on device. Medium tasks go to Apple's private cloud compute. The heaviest reasoning routes to the Gemini model on Google Cloud, reportedly running on Nvidia Blackwell B200 GPUs. Apple says it anonymizes and tokenizes queries so neither company can tie a request back to you. New Siri does what we were promised. Personal context across emails, photos, and files, on-screen awareness, cross-app actions, rich back-and-forth conversations, and a dedicated Siri app that lives in the dynamic island. Apple VP Mike Rockwell called it a profoundly more capable assistant. Federighi took a clear shot at rivals on stage. Quote, "Some appear to be racing forward, seemingly pursuing AI for the sake of AI, without clear regard to the people that it's ultimately meant to serve," end quote. He also insisted, privacy in AI is non-negotiable. My take? Equal parts triumph and confession. Apple delivered the product they owed us 2 years ago, but renting Gemini is them admitting out loud that they couldn't build a frontier model on their own timeline. Hit me in the comments. Is this genius, or is this Apple blinking in public for the first time in a decade? Beyond Siri, Apple stuffed AI into basically every app. Visual intelligence now lives in the camera app on iPhone. Point your camera at a restaurant, get reviews, and book a table. Same feature gets a keyboard shortcut on macOS, screenshot integration on iPad OS, and look and ask support on Vision OS. Writing tools are now system-wide, with automatic proofreading anywhere you type, including most third-party apps. Safari auto-organizes your tabs by topic and adds Notify Me, where the browser watches a page for you and pings you when something changes. The Passwords app uses an AI agent to literally visit your insecure sites, sign in, and rotate passwords for you. Messages suggest reminders and notes. Calendar does natural language event creation. Phone surfaces call context when you dial a business. Home summarizes camera clips and now supports 4K and the sleeper feature. Shortcuts finally lets you build a multi-step shortcut by just describing it in plain English. That's the one that turns a power user tool into something normal people actually use. Now here's the bombshell that got an audible boo from the Apple Park crowd. Siri AI will not launch in the European Union on iPhone or iPad and won't be in China at launch either. Apple's reasoning is spicy. They say EU regulators wouldn't accept any proposed solution and that the Digital Markets Act would force Apple to give, quote, any AI system nearly unlimited access to a user's device, end quote. Reading messages, sending messages, making purchases, accessing files autonomously without ongoing user control. Apple says researchers have already shown AI systems can be hijacked to steal passwords and photos. Federighi on stage paraphrased their refusal to engage constructively on solutions that preserve privacy and security means Apple has no timeline for Siri AI on iPhone and iPad in the EU. The twist? EU users will get Siri AI on Mac OS, Vision OS, and Watch OS, just not iPhone or iPad. EU developers can't even test it. China is a different story, blocked by ongoing regulatory negotiations Apple won't detail. My take? Apple frames this as the EU wants a backdoor to your data. The EU will frame it as Apple weaponizing privacy to dodge competition rules. Both can be true. Either way, hundreds of millions of iPhone users get locked out of the headline feature on day one, and the Keynote crowd booed live on a live stream. That's a first. macOS 27 is named macOS Golden Gate after the bridge, keeping the California landmark tradition alive. Federighi ran his usual gag about the marketing team's unconventional methods of naming releases. More importantly, Golden Gate is the first macOS that runs only on Apple Silicon. The Intel Mac era is officially dead. macOS Tahoe was the last. Apple explicitly invoked Snow Leopard, calling this a refinement year focused on performance and stability over flashy features. Claims include apps launching up to 30% faster, photos loading 70% faster, AirDrop 80% faster, and iPad to external drive file transfers 5 times faster. And the big one for the haters, Liquid Glass gets a tinting and opacity slider so you can dial it from fully transparent to fully clouded. Apple also resharpened the over-rounded corners and fixed the floating sidebars everyone complained about. Spotlight gets a new search or ask interface powered by Siri. My take? We listened is the theme. The slider is Apple quietly admitting Liquid Glass was too much last year without ever saying the words. Apple, famously reluctant to AI edit your actual photos, jumped in with both feet. 3 tools landed. Cleanup gets a big upgrade with realistic infill even in complex scenes. Extend adds background or changes aspect ratio without cropping. And the standout, Spatial Reframing, uses 3D spatial models plus generative AI to literally shift the camera perspective after you took the shot. Image Playground got completely reimagined too. Photorealistic generation, no more cartoon only. Multi-person support, image modification, touch-based refinement, and any aspect ratio you want. There's a new Image Playground API for developers. My take, Spatial Reframing is the feature that's going to sell iPhones this fall. It's also going to start 1,000 is a photo even real anymore arguments, both at once. Apple devoted a real chunk of the keynote to kids. New tools include Ask to Browse, where kids request permission before visiting new websites in Safari, and it's on by default for under 13s. Communication safety now blurs gore and violence in addition to nudity, and time allowances for entertainment, games, and social media use limits grounded in research from the American Academy of Pediatrics. There's a redesigned screen time, a declared age range API so developers can tailor experiences by age, and a new central child safety website. Apple's VP of Health, Dr. Sumbul Desai, framed the whole thing around expert research and parental choice. Genuinely substantive stuff. Worth noting, child safety protesters from Heat Initiative and Ultraviolet were outside Apple Park, reminding everyone that critics still think Apple isn't doing enough on the detection side. For devs, the Foundation Models framework now accepts image input, supports custom skills, and adds server models via a Swift API. There's a new Core AI framework that lets you run any model locally on Apple Silicon. The Xcode coding assistant now supports multiple models, including Google Gemini, plus GitHub and Figma integration, and a new device hub that puts every simulator and real device into one interface. And Apple put Siri Kit on a formal deprecation clock, making App Intense the only path for Siri integration going forward. Roughly a 2 to 3 year migration window for existing apps. My take? Xcode shipping Gemini as a native model option is a quiet bombshell. Apple's own IDE now sells you a competitor's model that tells you everything about where Apple's head is in 2026. Here's the tell. A PL was up about 2% at the open, then slid during the keynote and turned negative just after 2 p.m. Eastern, ending Monday roughly 2% lower. Classic, buy the rumor, sell the news after a stock that had already run up about 15% in May. Wall Street is split hard. Wedbush's Dan Ives raised his target from $350 to $400, the street high, saying the Gemini deal turns a weakness into a strength, but the spread runs all the way down to a $215 bear case, a roughly 46% range with a consensus average around $310. The sharpest line came from Moffett-Nathanson. Quote, "The question is, does a better Siri justify a multiple that already assumes it works?" End quote. And Ming-Chi Kuo warned the real test isn't the stock pop, it's whether Apple can build something better than Google using the same Gemini. A stock falling on a successful keynote means expectations were sky high. Apple delivered the product, but didn't blow the doors off. All right, rapid fire on everything else. AirPods finally get a custom EQ, long requested, now real. Cycle tracking in health adds perimenopause and menopause support. iCloud shared albums now work with Android and Windows users and support full resolution photos. Real applause in the room for that one. Maps Flyover gets upgraded aerial imagery plus vision intelligence rendering. Apple Vision Pro turns your own panoramas into spatial scenes. Apple gave a developer preview of Home OS, a new OS for the rumored HomePad Smart Home Hub. HomePod plus a 7-inch display and an A18 chip. Software first, hardware expected this fall. The whole lineup moved to version 27. iOS 27 supports iPhones back to the iPhone 11. The widest support window in any iOS release ever, though the headline Apple Intelligence and Siri AI features need newer hardware, roughly iPhone 15 Pro and up. Rollout, developer beta today, public beta next month, general availability this fall. And the wild card, the single most awkward moment of the keynote, Federighi announcing Siri AI isn't coming to the EU and the live audience straight up booing. Apple essentially used its keynote stage to argue that EU regulation, specifically the Digital Markets Act, forces it to make AI less safe. Whether you buy that or see it as Apple playing the privacy card to dodge competition law, it was a remarkable bit of public regulatory shade. Hundreds of millions of EU iPhone users get to watch everyone else get the headline feature. So that's WWDC 2026. The through line? Apple blinked. After years of we do it all ourselves, the most valuable company on earth is now renting Google's brain to power Siri and betting that its privacy wrapper and on-device processing make that okay. Pragmatic, maybe brilliant. Also an admission, the product looks legit, but Apple has burned this trust once already. The real test isn't today's demo, it's whether Siri AI actually works when it ships this fall. Which story got you most? Is the Gemini deal genius or surrender? And are my EU nerds furious right now? Drop it in the comments. If you're new here, smash the subscribe button. We do this every single week so you can stay caught up without doom scrolling. Until next time, stay nerdy. Peace out, y'all.
It's been the honor of a lifetime to help advance that mission with teams whose creativity, care, and conviction continue to make a lasting difference in people's lives. Thank you all for joining us. Let's have a great WWDC.